Okay, so once again, we are back here at the land plane. I had a few comments on this. One of them was that I should make it heavier. And if you can kind of see this, this is a 1/2 inch steel I-beam here. These things are incredibly heavy. I think they are around 600 pounds a piece, I think is what my son told me. A 12 by 50. If one of you guys know better, please correct me in the comments. But and this angle iron is heavy angle iron. It's 1/2 inch by like 4 by 3 or something like that. Heavy steel squares tubing. Everything on here is like super heavy, and this is a big giant heavy piece of angle iron as well. And so honestly, you can't lift even the corner of this up by yourself. But here's the part I wanted to show you. Are these rippers. Now that's one of the things that a lot of you guys said in the comments, that it needed more ripper, and I totally agree. But it wasn't just a ripper. It had to be something that was going to hold up to the abuse. And so on the ends here, I got I just welded these little chunks of hardened steel on the ends of these, and I've already put this thing through its paces, so they've been holding up fairly well, namely because of the rocks and stuff. But when I weld these on there, it it gets red hot, and then it flash cools, and it actually hardens this surface really hard. And so it just rounded the corners off a little bit. So I'm hoping I get a little bit of use out of those, a little bit of mileage, but they're all holding up pretty good so far. So, but I think even an additional ripper, or even two down the sides, would even increase its effectiveness that much more. And somebody had suggested putting some 45s on the edges here, because these tend to kind of ride over the bumps. And I would have to concur as well, because these cutting blades are 1 inch below the bottom of this surface. So they're exactly, or no, excuse me, 1/2 inch. So they're exactly 1/2 inch below the bottom of this beam. And the idea is that these beams are going to ride over the highs, ride over the highs and fill in the lows. So, hence the term land plane, because every time you take it over, it's going to put a little bit more in the low and take off a little bit more off the high. And so that's pretty much it. And those rippers, I believe, are about 3 inches below the I-beams. So with those being 3 inches below, and those are 1/2 inch below, I don't know, I'm still working on it, still adjusting it. But I mean, it would have been ideal to have these adjustable, but to me that was just complicating the the build a lot, because of how robust that would have to be. And so I just wanted to kind of fiddle with it a little bit, get the right depth. I think I've got the right depth. A few more rippers on there, this thing should really work good. And of course, eventually it's going to need a hardened edge along these along those cutting bars, and a rock kicker off the back, because that was the other thing, is it was kicking up a fair amount of rocks. So well, anyways, I'll quit talking, we'll get this thing hooked up, and we'll see what it looks like going down the road. Notice this as well, was that when I was pulling this thing, it tended to want to lift the front end. And so that's something else that, if this were I mean, I'm gonna have to make a future mod on that as well. What I was thinking was some kind of a a tow bar that could fold down like as such, and then something hydraulic coming off the back here that could actually put tension on the one way or the other on the tow bar. So it could either put negative tension to actually force it down in the front, or it could put positive tension where I could actually lift the rippers up off the ground a little bit, to be able to tow it easier. And maybe in the future some wheels in the back as well. Maybe it could be hydraulically operated, but with all that, just gets more and more complexity. All right, it's already doing much better. So it's running fairly true. You know, you can see the rippers are ripping into the high spots, leaving the low spots alone, and you know, vice versa, filling in the low spots. So I'm gonna get you guys on the back of the truck. We'll check it out. Folks, that's about it for this video. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up if you like the video, and subscribe if you like this kind of content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.